Who is Deadliest? It's a duel to the death to decide who is the Deadliest Warrior.
And welcome to another episode of Deadliest Warrior. And today, I'm going to start a new series. This is the first episode of Series 2, and today's fight is going to be between the Aztec Warrior and the Spanish Conquistador. And now the thing that both these warriors have in common is they actually fought each other, to my knowledge. And well, for the background information, the Aztecs were what would be considered a native tribe. I guess I wouldn't call them Native American because I'm not sure why, but I'd call them a native tribe around Mexico. I think modern-day Mexico City, and they were very crafty. They were very creative, and they were mobile troops. Had enough to work with where it came to weapons, and they had their empire for a little while. They kept it standing for a good amount of time. Now for the Spanish Conquistadors, they were just guys from Spain who well, they came into South America and parts of Mexico, and they just started to attack empires to try and gain more land during the Age of Exploration. And they had more advanced weapons, better armor, better ways to protect themselves, and they just had a larger army altogether than what the Mayans, Aztecs, Inca, and all of them could muster. So they fought for a long time, and Spain pretty much had free license to take South America and parts of Mexico, and even part of the western United States as their own. So, yeah. Now for the armor, the Spanish Conquistador is probably the only warrior that has armor. He's pretty much got iron plating from head to toe, and there was really no weak spots. And the Aztecs, they didn't have that much armor. They might have taken animal hides and used them as armor. So yeah. Anyway, now for the weapons. First weapon for the Spanish Conquistador carries the musket. I'm gonna get a long-range view of this. So it's pretty simple. Here's your bayonet. Here's the barrel. A long shaft. You have your the piece there to load it. There's the frizzen and the lock and the stock. And this is pretty much the Spanish Conquistador's long-range weapon, and it's pretty much just your regular gun. It's a muzzle loader, so you put your cap and ball in there. You'd ram it down, put some gunpowder in there, put some gunpowder in the frizzen, pull it, push it down. Cock the lock back and fire. And compared to the Aztecs' weapons, this did some damage. Medium range weapon would be the halberd, and the head here is pretty interesting. And that well, here's your axe part, your spear part, and your kind of your scythe part, whatever you want to call it. And it can be used in those three ways. It's a two-handed weapon, and it does a lot of damage. The head, I'm led to believe, is made of iron. So yeah. Next for the Spanish Conquistador is the Cavalry Saber. It's a very curved blade, but it does its job. And normally when the Conquistadors were on horseback, they would have this to the side, and they would just clip people. They were just clipping people. And it could also be used on land, because the Conquistadors, they knew how to sword fight, pretty much like everyone did, in the 15th century, 16th century, and onward, because they had the technique. Because they could thrust like that, they could they could go for the head, they could just do a bunch of different sword fighting moves. Footwork came into that as well, and the conquistadors knew what they were doing when it came to sword fighting. Last weapon for the conquistador, he carried the parrying dagger. Now this kind of went with the saber, and while you were sword fighting with it, you use the parrying dagger to block, or kind of use both weapons to kind of twist the sword, disarm your opponent, or you could even break the sword if you had enough power to do so. So yeah. Now on to the Aztec Warrior. His long-range weapon is a curved throwing spear. This was normally carved from a tree branch, and it's very short, so it doesn't have much range. You just throw it, or if you need a weapon in a pinch, you can just use it to stab someone if necessary. Then the Aztec Warrior carries the Tomahawk. The tip here was probably made of flint or obsidian, so even though flint or obsidian was kind of primitive at the time, it still had the same brutality that that bronze or iron had. It was just a little more fragile and could only be used only a few times in combat. But the tomahawk is just used as your regular axe. You can just hack at people with it. You can throw it, stuff like that. So yeah. Next is the obsidian battle axe. Almost the same as the tomahawk, obsidian head. Even though obsidian was kind of primitive to the Spanish conquistadors' weapons being made of iron and whatnot, it just it still had the same brutality. Still, it was just more fragile, and the obsidian head was more than likely tied on with some rope or something. So yeah. Final weapon for the Aztec Warrior is the obsidian war club, and it's also made of obsidian, so it gets damaged frequently. It's very weak, but still has the same brutality as an iron weapon, and it's pretty much just used like a sword or whatever hand weapon you got. So you can just hack and you can just cut, and unfortunately it has no stab. Unfortunately, it's a blunt tip, so you can't stab someone with it. But it's still a very effective weapon nonetheless. Alright, now that I got all the info in, let's go see who our deadliest warrior is.